It's up with Jamal Boykin's baseline jump offline. DeMar DeRozan back for USC. Now Daniel Hackett setting up the offense. Leonard Washington at the block right there for USC, not getting the ball, but he's somewhat of a surprise starter. Here's Hackett posting up the much shorter Daniel.
And Jamal Boykins was the screen guy, so now you force Leonard Washington to give help, give support on Jerome Randall coming off that screen. And just too far of a run to come back and recover to challenge the shot by Boykin.
Hackett, those three out.
And light for this game. Every step he takes, every breath he makes, every step he takes. We're watching him. We're watching you, Taj.
2 points, 2 rebounds, and a block so far for Gibson.
That'll pick up.
Marcus Johnson in the game for USC, and Nikola Vucevic with Lewis out and Leonard Washington out.
Vucevic got the start against Washington State up in Pullman. USC's 2-point win and played well. 8 points, 5 rebounds.
Oh, good follow-up there. Hackett ended up with a bigger man on him, and Christopher.
And you can tell Daniel Hackett's dragging a bit. He's light for this.
This was mine. The camp had turned. Transition. Marcus Johnson!
Ouch.
And one!
Welcome to Pac-10 basketball, Mr. Gutierrez.
Marcus Johnson had a couple of dunks against Stanford in transition that got this
House on fire here, almost jumped up and over a la Vince Carter and Frederick Weiss. Right there, up and through. Gutierrez defenseless.
This was Montford off wide right.
We'll see, there's the pick and pop, and that time you had the defender on Theo Robertson, DeMar DeRozan, just hugging. He's not going to leave him like Jamal Boykin was left to find open jump shot. So hence the struggle from the perimeter for Cal. But if you don't have a great or even a decent post-up game, you're in trouble.
That's it. Now here's Hackett. Well, there's the ISO play. Hackett deferred off wide right.
We'll see, there's the pick and pop, and that time you had the defender on Theo Robertson, DeMar DeRozan, just hugging. He's not going to leave him like Jamal Boykin was left to find open jump shot. So hence the struggle from the perimeter for Cal. But if you don't have a great or even a decent post-up game, you're in trouble.
That's it. Now here's Hackett. Well, there's the ISO play. Hackett deferred.
Assistant coaches and just watching him work with the young Shaquille O'Neal, who was going into his second year in the league, and being around him and the drills and the demeanor and the knowledge was one of the greatest basketball experiences of my life.
So USC now winding down to 2 minutes. Still have their two big guys, Hackett and Gibson, have played this entire half. And Hackett's three puts the Trojans back in front.
I mean, how do they do that? Rocket assistant coach, enormous amount of energy. Hackett at the defensive end, running the show as a point guard. Taj working his behind off, trying to get positioned down in the low box. Defensively challenging, helping out on drives to the basket.
Dante Smith continuing to get minutes, so Tim Floyd's going to try, obviously, to protect Dwight Lewis with the 2 fouls. Hackett curling. Little step around in the lane. Now USC's got time here. Hackett glancing at the clock. Hackett himself. Hackett, 2. And it's good. And USC has a 3-point lead at the break.
Great presence of mind by Daniel Hackett. He saw the overhead clock all the way, so he knew exactly how much time. There's a glance right there. See how much time. Counts it down in his head. No defender there to challenge. Pulls up. Great rotation. Bottom. Guys doesn't work on that possession. Run a second defender at Jerome Randall. Get the ball out of his hands. Make someone else have to initiate, become the playmaker. Didn't work for him on that possession, but I think we'll see a lot more of that from USC, at least a couple more times this game.
Gibson with the kickback. Hackett.
Guys doesn't a lot of attitude. Got to rein it in, make it productive.
Randall, you saw the assist count. Randall leads the Pac-10 right now in assists in the conference play. And nobody would guess that, right? In the league with Darren Collison, who would think Jerome Randall leads in assists? Right. Hackett missing a 3. To DeRozan. These USC players, we're going to find out what kind of Iron Men they are. Hackett with a crazy twist in the left. To DeRozan. Gibson for USC. 9 minutes. seen Hackett post up Randall as much as Gibbs, cleared by Vucevic.
And there may be an example of Jerome Randall doing a little too much. I mean, nice job penetrating, but now you got some defensive attention, some help. You got somebody open on the other side of the floor. That was a tough shot.
And now Gibson's still out of the timeout, and DeRozan has come out for the first time. So Hackett's the last Iron Man standing. Leonard Washington and Vucevic both on the floor. Hackett baseline. Oh, Hackett!
Daniel Hackett.
Buonasera, Daniel Hackett.
Didn't know he had it in him. Nice job. Shots become tougher and tougher.
See, Cal, after 21 turnovers Thursday night, has cleaned that part of its game up. Big part of their being right in this one as we wind toward 4 minutes.
Time to put your big guns back in there. Ride the horses that got you this far.
Hackett and one.
And I think a great bit of offensive play calling by Tim Floyd. You know, we wonder why we hadn't seen more of this, but he's kind of picking and choosing his spots. And now he goes back to the post-up for Daniel Hackett. Cal slow and recognizing. No help comes. Hackett up and over, draws the foul.
Two coaches that both had NBA experience, and there's a classic NBA play they call it inverting.
Yeah, and again, you don't want to tip your hand too soon and too often.
Gibson.
Shots become
game behind the co-leaders UCLA and Washington at the halfway mark, and the second half of the Pac-10 season begins Wednesday night with the second USC-UCLA game at Pauley.
Okay, I'm going to change things up a bit. Come out in a 1-2-2 zone alignment.
The other issue Cal fights, Jerome Randall has 4 fouls.
Here's a way of protecting him not only from that foul situation, but even more important from getting posted up by Daniel Hackett.
Big clock, it's Hackett. Game behind and a dangerous look to it. And there's a collision. Christopher out of a danger.
DeRozan, of course, Taj Gibson, Daniel Hackett all kind of stepped up to the forefront and did their thing. Just kind of a display of mental toughness on the part of USC.
And if they close this out, this will get them to 6-3 at the halfway mark, and that goes a long way toward
DeRozan.
Cal setting up, trying to press it. Knezovic is on the floor, and
just based on first half and records and how players have performed game by game in the Pac-10 itself. I wouldn't have said that before. I just thought about it a minute ago, but Isaiah Thomas,
who's your most improved player?
Jordan Hill.
Jordan Hill.
I mean, that's a pretty easy one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say Justin Denton.
Yeah.
He is having now he was a great freshman player.